so that will not impede on my golf cart racetrack. And then over here is still a big question. I put the pallets that I got from my friend Brent and Ashley over here. That is, well, I want to make a drawbridge. I don't know if anybody remembers, but the story of the pit. Our garage used to flood when we moved in 7 years ago, and we spent 18 months navigating that every time it rained, and then we had enough. So we had my cousin come over with and rented a backhoe, and he dug up the whole side of our house. I have not been in the front of the house in a couple of weeks. You just keep grabbing stuff and moving to the back. It's a construction zone. So water would come, all the water from the street would come down our very slanted driveway into what was supposed to be working as a French drain. So the water would come down and it was supposed to go into the grate, and there was a hole that went to underneath the garage. It was supposed to go into the grate, then to a little retention thing in the garage, and then it would come out the back of the house. Clay pipes, old, all collapsed. Water would come down, fill up, and then into the garage every time it rains. So we get my cousin Big Bad Bobby Bill, the human, over here with a backhoe, and he dug up the whole side of the yard, the whole side here, and we put in a huge pipe. So the pipe runs down here into what we lovingly call the pit, where it comes out there into a retention area that needs to be desperately cleaned and have spring cleanup. The reason this is important is because we have 12 duck eggs in the front of our house, and I'm under the impression that she laid those eggs when this retention pond was full, and now it is not. So Anna's foster heart is like, hey Shane, what happens if the mom leaves the babies? Oh, we gotta get an incubator, and maybe I'll be their mom. And he's like, don't do anything to scare off the mom. And I'm like, I'm not a dick. And I don't need to scare off the mom, Shane. I just need one of those dozen little idiots to imprint on me. And when I hang out at maybe my little duck pond that I can build before they're born, what happens then? We started that conversation. So I was like, you know what? Let's ask my best friend, ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT, what do I do? And they're like, well, don't touch it. And I'm like, obviously. And then the second thing was don't you dare build an enclosure around those eggs. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I was like, damn it, I wasn't going to touch them, but I was definitely going to enclose our entire front yard before they were born, so they wouldn't know. They would just thought that that's what the world was. But the mom apparently needs to be able to fly away, so that doesn't work. And so then it gave me further information. It said within 24 hours of them hatching, the mom is going to want to take them to water. And it was right away. They're not going to hang out for a couple of weeks. The mom's just going to be okay, go swim. Where's the water? Not in the pit. And so I asked ChatGPT, was wait, if you're going to take them to water and we don't have water in the pit, what will you do? And he's like, well, can you put water in the pit? It's well, yeah, I can just run the hose. It's okay, well, maybe I put and he's and then they're like, well, if there's not close enough water, you can encourage them to stay a little bit longer. Maybe you could put a little basin of water, and it was a baby pool. I have a baby pool. I don't know where my baby pool is. Oh no, did the baby pool fly away in the wind? I had a baby pool, but I either really got it out of my way or it might have caught the wind. If anybody sees a baby pool flying around somewhere off of Windsor, it's mine, it's blue. Yeah, no, that pool's gone. Okay, different plan. Anyway, I have 3 other big water receptacle things that I will use to encourage those guys to stay if it doesn't rain. Anyway, back to the drawbridge. So with the weather getting nice a week or two ago, we got the golf carts out because we're testing them, because we're still wrenching on them and having a good time with them. I was driving around the back of the yard, testing to see if I could, and my dad made a comment about the pit, and it's oh, watch out for the pit. And it's yeah, I wish we could do something. And he's like, well, we could just a little walkway over it. And I was like a little bridge walkway. That'd be cool. Maybe it's a bridge walkway that you can drive a golf cart on, maybe. That's probably more money than I want to. I want to spend $0. I don't think I'll be able to do it for $0. But I kind of like that idea. Maybe when I get over to that pit area, that'll be more of an evolved plan. We'll see. So that's pinned in the back of my mind. And then my friend Brent messaged me, and he's like, hey, I hear you're looking for pallets. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I talk on the internet. Yeah, I am. He's like, I got a bunch for you. He brought me all of these. Look at all this. Have I told you lately how much I love you? he's here. I'm showing him the, like, what I'm thinking. And I was like, yeah, it's like, and then just kind of in the baby idea in the back of my mind is if you find solid, good pallets, like maybe that I could drive a golf cart over, like maybe you could let me know. And he was like, Anna, he works for a luxury car. He he works for Ferrari. He's pretty impressive. He's like, we have pallets of like motors and Ferrari parts come in all the time. He's like, we have these 12-foot solid big pallets that come in often. I could keep an eye out for you. And I was like, you can get me Ferrari pallets? Like if they can ship Ferrari parts on it, I'm pretty sure my little ass golf cart might be able to drive over it. What do you think? He's like, oh, hell yeah. I'm like, how many, like, I think I probably need like 3 or 4. Do you think you'd get like 3 or 4 12-foot pallets? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So my excitement about potentially building a solarium is excited about that build. And it's like, okay, do we want to do anything or just want to build that? But then also on the docket is a bridge, walkway, pathway, cartway. Doesn't matter. All I know is that we can't completely close it off. For the last 5 years, this has worked efficiently. But we've had 2 raccoons that we've had to dig out of there because somebody fucking poisoned them and they went to the nearest body of water and then not great. So we can't completely close it off or seal it up. It has to be so that we can open it. Listen, I don't know if you guys are on the same page as me, but drawbridge is the only way to go. Because this doesn't not work, right? Active working theory. If the pallets are 12 feet long, they're anywhere from 3 to 4 feet wide. I put 2 together, then now I have 6 to 8 feet. I can drive a golf cart over it. It has to open. So if that pallet is about 3.5 feet and that pallet's about 3.5, I already have about 7 feet. If that bumps back a little bit, I then have another 5 to 6 feet over the pit, met by another set coming from the other direction, 5 to 6 feet. Cut it, make it so the top flips up, drawbridge. Have to make sure that we're in the property line area of things and that we have our wonderful neighbor that is okay with us using their driveway as the access point to getting into the backyard from here. But that shit does not work and she's wonderful. And also, I will give you every vegetable or fruit that you want because I'm going to try to grow them, but not sunflowers. Somebody ate them. So right now we have that dead ass tree that I don't love. I got to call ComEd because there's something buzzing with that when it's leaning on it. And we have those trees that I don't love. But if I can create some sort of an archway, and then a drive-through, are you kidding me? The good news is it's all the way on this side of the yard, and I have all of this stuff to do first. Because all the way over there is my 4 beds. I'm not even halfway. I'm still working over there. I called Brad Lindstrom from Lindstrom Landscaping and was like, hey, friends, you know how you do patios and gardens and stuff? I don't know what I'm doing, and I need your expert advice because I need some sort of dirt, topsoil, gross stuff in delivered, and I got to figure out where to put it because also we need to finish leveling the yard, and I have leveled the stuff that is levelable by hand doing it, but like the amount of settling that this side of the yard has done that we dug up, like this is a roller coaster. Like when I drive over this in the golf cart, it's like the Antioch Strangler Railroad tracks. So he stopped by this weekend and gave us some advice, and that he's going to have somebody drop off some dirt, but I have to figure out where to put that over here because I have a whole mess of stuff to clean up in order to save the ducks and build them a pond. I don't want to build a bridge this year. I want to see if I can get the ducks to want to hang out back here for a little bit, and then that will help me decide if I want to build a bridge. I haven't been to this side of the house. So we have Maggie, the magnolia that is right in my face, and I see all the time she's got white with purple leaves, or white, mainly white with pink. And then there's this one that has these purple, but it needs to be cut back so bad. Oh, I have a plan for that. This magnolia is gorgeous, but it needs a lot of help, right? And it can be cut back and made to be looked better. So it's not time for me to attack this area yet until I have to put the pumpkins and stuff in because I'm going to trellis them over here. But this all has to be cleaned out, and I'm going to see about... One of the things that ChatGPT said is that, like, be careful, like, when the ducks are on the move and the mom's taking them, sometimes they, like, will fall into, like, a drainage. You got to watch out for, like, little drains or little areas they can fall into, and that would be dangerous. I don't know how things are going to play out with these ducks. And I also did promise to make sure that I didn't scare off the mom to be nefarious and have a dozen ducks. What if I had a dozen farm ducks? That'd be so cool. But also, they are not home ducks. Shane told me they're not home ducks. We don't keep those ducks. Okay, back to the baby ducks. So it was like, make sure they don't fall into drains, because when the mom duck does take them on their walkabout, they're going to go towards the nearest water, and that would be like by the sawmill downtown Antioch. And it's like, oh, that's really far, right? It's like, and make it, or even the water treatment plant, but I don't know if they go there. Anyway, my brother-in-law was like, yeah, you got to make sure they don't fall in like a storm drain or something. You know, like they say that you can kind of direct them by like following them and just keep them in line very gently, right? It's like, respect your manners. And now I'm going to do everything I can to be a part of this experience, short of setting up a GoPro. And if somebody has an extra GoPro and wants to set it up over the nest so we can watch them hatch, I would love that. Or else I don't know. I'm excited. Anyway, what things that I can do is I can open the window that is directly kind of above the nest, because once they all hatch, you'll hear them chirp, right? And so, and they're not all going to hatch at one time. So maybe if one like hatches and then like there's a slow buildup of chirping, we won't miss it and can observe from afar. But like, I hope that these ducks, all 12 of them, they all hatch and they get with their mother to wherever they're going to end up being. And I don't have to be a part of that experience. But in this whole, like, I just am living my best Disney life, right? If I, like Kevin Costner, if you build it, they will come. Like, I'm going to build flower beds and vegetable beds, hoping that the vegetables and flowers and sunflowers come before the wildlife eats the vegetation. But also, if I have no vegetation because of the local wildlife has hunkered down and is like, this place is cool, then I'm living my best Disney princess life, right? So, like, the question is posed then with the Kevin Costner lens of like, what can I build so the duckies would stay? I don't know. Maybe that's not what you should do. But my brother-in-law was like, well, you got to be careful, Anna. The pit, the drain, right? Like their French bulldog fell in the pit when it was full of snow. Like she just went right in. So it's like, oh, he's like, you got to watch out for the drain. What if they all fall into the drain in front of the garage? And he had this like, oh no lens, and I had the like lens of like, oh yeah, that wouldn't be great. What if they all fall into the drain? And then there's some water, or just the direction that they go is down to this very large pipe that a football or like a basketball could fit down. Like there's not going to get stuck. Oh no! Like what if they fall in the drain and there's water in it, and then all of a sudden it's like a little duck slide? That's bad. Oh gosh, where are they going to end up? An incinerator? No, into a duck pond, a pond full of like wild. Like I got to get the plastic out of there. But like, oh no, what if they fall in the drain? Why is that a bad thing? Every single day I sit out here and I put on the lens of like, what can we build to create an experience that we would like? How do I not put that lens on when it's like 12 duck eggs? I don't want to buy an incubator. Let the mom do the job. But like those ducks can't fly away. They're going to have to walk somewhere. The question at bay is like, what would happen? What happens if there's like, not an enclosure, but like just a suggestion of a way to go that may or may not lead to a fun duck slide that I may or may not, or someone could have been leaving the hose run for however long. I'm still doing the math on how long those eggs have been hatched. It takes 28 days after she lays them, and like they don't start nesting on them until she's done laying all of them. God help her if she's still laying eggs. There's literally 12 in there. So I haven't gone back to look, but if I had to like rough estimate, shoot from the hip, be the majority confident, 51%. It's been, I think, 2 weeks that those ducks have been around, right? And I think that by that video that we took of them walking around in our hubbubbing, I think that she had already started to lay the eggs. I don't think that they would have continued to build a nest with all the commotion we've had in the last 2 weeks. So that means that those eggs could have started to be laid maybe 2-3 weeks ago. That's 14 to 21 days. but she doesn't start nesting on them. Thank you, ChatGPT, until like the last one's laid. So maybe that one happened like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So we might be 7 to 14 days into this 28-day experience or they could hatch today. I don't know. I took down a couple trees. That whole thing is not attached. It's leaning, but it's clearing out. So there's the Jamie Jam's garden beds, the tree that's being cut down. This tree, I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but I cleared all of that out. My dad goes, did ComEd come? And I was like, yeah, but I did that. The pit is clearing out, and you can't see it great yet, but there's 3 archways started with trees that we're going to grow pumpkins over. So this is the next spot I'm working on. There's one over there. And then there's just the absence of a bunch of them. Got a couple stumps. That's my dome. You can't see the archway yet, but that cluster of trees right there, or that cluster, there's arches. That'll grow mini pumpkins, I think. And then the dome will be kind of in front of that. That is deceiving on there. You can't tell how deep that is. Cut more of the magnolia down. That's all the trees I took down. I'm grateful for the progress. I'm grateful for the time to be. I'm going to be grateful instead of angry that I can't go. All I want to do right now is dig out that fucking stump and put the sunflower bed in. But I will pass out and die. You just bury me over there. I don't have enough fluid in my body to be able to check that box. If anybody's like, hey, I would like to get my wiggles out, and hey, can you show me what your garden workout routine is? Yeah, bring a shovel. Yesterday, I just beat myself up mentally when I don't feel good because I want to just go. And so all day yesterday, I'm like, I'm so mad at myself. I don't feel good. Why? And then this morning I went out and looked at the project I'm currently in the middle of. And it's like, oh no, that explains a lot of why I don't feel good. That was a lot of work. I don't know if I've told you guys about the boulders. Have I told you about the rocks and the boulders that we found that we're harvesting for our water feature possibly next year? And we have found so many rocks while digging, and like every time Sarah and I would dig, it'd be like, oh rock, boulder, and we'd throw them over by the tree. While I was trying to dig out this stump, right, I had said that I was behind. I thought that I would have gotten the garden bed planted already, but I'm still fucking working on this stump. Like, what the hell? Well, the stump hasn't come out because while I was working on the stump, I found a boulder. It's huge. It's right on our property line. It's right underneath a tree stump another tree stump that has to come out. And right now I have to make a decision if I'm going to address this fucking boulder this year or if I'm just going to pin it for next year. I can do that, but it's like, Well, I went over there and looked at it and was like, I don't know what to do about this fucking boulder. When my aunt came over, I was like, yeah, I found this fucking boulder. I don't know what to do with it. She's like, that's an expensive boulder. And I was like, yeah, is somebody going to come over and dig it out of the ground for me? Because I don't want to touch this thing. It's huge. Shane's gut estimate is this thing is anywhere between 500 and 1,000 pounds. That's a lot. I watered the pumpkin patch this morning and it looks beautiful. I think there's like 2 or 3 plants I might replace, but for all intents and purposes, a week in after planting, we have growth, we have established roots, I did it. I couldn't be more excited about the progress of this, and I could leave it and just continue the building next year, but I'm hoping that I don't have to. So I know that I have, that's like 36 inches tall, and I have a couple of weeks, hopefully, until vines are that tall, and we have to have the dome over it. So it is a question mark because I can't do that until I finish the sunflower bed, which is supposed to go over there. But in the sunflower bed of things, this is the bed where sunflowers, corn, beans, peas possibly will go, mainly to help break up the weed line between us and the neighbors. And this is the nightmare stump I'm working on that I think that I just need to take a chainsaw, cut it flush or cut it low and cover, because this is the walkway around the area, right? And in digging up this area to get the soil where it needs to be and get the weeds and all that stuff out, I found this. This is the boulder. It is monstrous. I would say that it's going to be at least 4 feet. I think it's 2 or 3 feet deep. It's under that set of stumps and that set of stumps. And these are all the rocks that we have found that were in this dirt And there's plenty more. I got to take down more of those weeds and things that are attracting not great bugs and work on that stump, clean up the stuff. Once I get this area set, I can continue building on that. I am currently collecting my energy. I paced myself yesterday, and I'm grateful that I paced myself. I woke up this morning feeling good, and we also got a lot of shit done. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going through that, like, what did we do? How do I have garden beds 10 and 11 planted out, and yet still not one sunflower planted? What had happened was the rock, the boulder, it was like, okay, I said to Shane, it's going to take us 2 weeks to either dig out this boulder and stumps, have somebody come and do it. Like, what do we do? Like, is it a this year problem? Do we want to waste the energy on this boulder this year, or do we just wait? So, Sarah came over and we recapped the whole thing. She watched Coffee with Anna with me. And I was like, okay, what do I do? And I was like, I don't want to mess with, I don't want to, that boulder. I don't want to touch that boulder. So we worked around the boulder. Some issues that I've been dealing with are boxes that we're checking. I had 10 variety squashes that were growing in grow bags and ready to be planted, but I didn't know where to put them because I didn't know where for more vining plants to go. All of the mini pumpkins and pumpkins that I had put in took, and then I had extras of those where I'm like, I don't even know where to put those. So I don't have another bed scheduled to have things climbing over it. What the fuck do I do? In this talking about the boulder, we're like, okay, how do we check both boxes, right? It's like, okay, well, I have lattice from the fence that we took down. I have the poles that we can use to secure it. Like, maybe we can kind of create like a little walk around of the bed, and so that you can't fall into it. But then I don't want to fill it back in. I just want to make sure nobody falls into it, because we'll address it later. How do we visually get it out of sight? We use the lattice to block it off. We can hide some firewood and things behind it and make it not right in the eyesight. But then I told you, that girl and I spent 4 days digging in the ground, and another rock, the smaller rocks, not the boulder rock. And so we just kept throwing them over by the tree. And then the tree just had a bunch of boulders around it, or rocks around it. It's like, what do we do? I had a stump. What do I do with this stump? I don't want to cut this stuff out this year. I don't want to dig up this rock. This boulder's making me angry. Just want to get it out of sight. We crushed it. So while we were brainstorming where to put the squashes yesterday, I had extra zinnias, and then I had a planter full of like 6 or 7 what was marked as lettuce. It's like, okay, what kind of lettuce is this? It's like, I don't know. It just says lettuce. Things got crazy the last couple months, and it says it's lettuce. I was like, Sarah, remember how you sometimes taste things to see what it is? Like, do you want to put this in your mouth and see what kind of lettuce that is maybe? She's like, sure. She puts it in her mouth. She's like, yeah, that's a cabbage leaf. I think that's cabbage. I was like, oh, sweet. We have cabbage, and then we have squash, and then I have a million zinnias. What do I do with those? This is what we created. Lattice went up. The boulder's back behind there with the trees. We used all the rocks we dug up and framed out. This is bed number 10, and it's got squash, zinnias, and cauliflower in it. Anna, is bed number 10 on your property? Yes. Is bed number 11? Well, not so much. This is one of those instances where he was like, whatever, you go ahead. Like, I don't know what to do with this. And I was like, well, I'm type A, and like, I can fix it a little bit. I'll fix our soil this summer. Is that all right? He's like, yeah. I told him I was going to put in sunflowers. I put in a whole little bed. Listen, he's going to come out and mow his lawn this week, and I'm going to be like, so you like produce, I hope. Do you want my baby broccoli? Because I took part of your yard for this year. Like, I'll pay you in produce. I don't know. Like, they don't seem to mind that I'm taking over. And I appreciate the positive feedback, but for somebody who doesn't touch dirt, it's surprising that I'm touching my own dirt, yet alone like, hey, neighbor, do you mind if I rip up your yard too? My girlfriend Erin came over yesterday, and she's like, Anna, do you remember that one time that you had a plant in your house and you called me because you were like panicked and you were like, I don't know how to touch dirt. I need your help. Remember how that happened? I don't know. That could have been like 8 months ago. I don't know. Yeah. Now I am my girlfriend Erin was like, Anna, you're like feral in this backyard. I was like, yeah, it's like watching a real live garden video. I was like, Sitting down is very difficult. It's like being at Dublin's, but instead of like having to like water the customers, I'm watering the plants. Like instead of like, they don't talk back. It's wonderful. The music is just as loud. I'm just as wiggly. And instead of doing shots, I just plant more things and hope they grow. And in that spirit of things, I am looking at what I have to do today. I'm waiting for Amazon because I ordered drip tape. We have a irrigation system on the other beds that I like, and they have like little spray heads. According to ChatGPT, I am not watering enough for the plants that I have. So in order to streamline that and get the water on this side of the garden set up with the trampoline pumpkin bed and the new squash beds and the sunflower bed that how many weeks have I been like, I think it's today I'm going to put the sunflowers on, and I still haven't put sunflowers on. God only knows when it's going to happen. I'm hoping it'll be today, but we'll see. I might get distracted with a chainsaw and a stump until the water gets here, or until the drip tape gets here. The doctor just called with my numbers. I've been waiting since last week, and I'm kind of thrown for a loop. They called specifically to ask me if I was taking any iron supplements because my iron was too high. And I was like, no, not at all, actually. So now what do we do? She's like, we'll call you back. Okay. I put shoes on, and then I started collecting the stuff that I need and immediately started sweating buckets. So I know that I'm running on limited energy today. And so I decide, pick your weapon of choice. Guess what mine is today? Weapon of choice: rainbow shoes and a Milwaukee chainsaw, because we're going after a stump. Full disclaimer: I'm going against my own rules today on using a chainsaw when Shane is not home, just for fear of if something happens to me, what is Grayson going to do? So I'm going to let my sister know, hey, I'm going to start a chainsaw in about 10 minutes. If you don't hear from me in the next half an hour, shoot me a message. And I'm going to take out that fucking stump because I'm a little mad at the medical industry. I don't think that those two things are directly correlated. I'm mad at the medical industry, but then I'm also going to address the stump, but not just out of pure rage and anger. And I'm going to do it safely. But our weapon of choice today is a fucking chainsaw. And somebody messaged me to ask me if I had a rash going on. They're like, it looks like you have a little bit of a rash on your neck. And I'm allergic to the sun. And that's where the garden is. And so, yes, I'm starting to have heat rash and all the things that come with being allergic to the sun. And I am pretending to ignore it and sweating my ass. So, wish me luck on the stump. It's not even noon and I'm so dirty and feral. One thing I want to say is that a problem I've had in the garden is that I didn't have clothes that fit. And so the layers of clothes that I'd wear, I just keep sweating. So I was trying to find a swimsuit, but that it was also kind of a cover up, that it's just like one thing I could put on to not necessarily swim in, but that I could be in the garden and feel covered up in and not feel like my ass is hanging out in public and all that kind of stuff. And I ordered this swimsuit on Amazon yesterday and it came. I'm obsessed. I feel covered and I feel like I could do calisthenics in this thing. Between this bathing suit, the rainbow shoes, and that chainsaw, that stump doesn't stand a chance. I love it. I ordered it in a large. It fits like a glove. And yes, I will be ordering numerous other pieces, and that will be my garden outfit for this summer. Don't judge me. I want to get a little recording walkthrough, though, real quick so that I have it, because mid-progress, this is exciting. I couldn't be happier about the progress of things coming along and sprouting and doing its thing. I have a couple of things to button up, but holy crap, like when I sit down and actually like am in person and look at things, I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. We're doing such a good job. Literally, my friend Kevin came over yesterday. He's like, I didn't know this backyard exists. It's like, it didn't exist. We never saw it. It's different, doesn't it? Better than a bar. Because we took down half the bar down in our basement. It's like, usually people came over to see the pub. Like, this is different. Oy vey. All right. Good morning. How is everybody? Happy Monday. So, I'm sitting in my spot. I'm looking at, okay, what's the Monday garden update? It's like, holy crap. Did you see the shed? I cannot get over how cute it is. And it's Like, it's so cute, but I know that like petunias and the flowers that I used will be double the size in 2 weeks. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's doing it. It's doing it, Peter. I don't know if I've talked about like some of my goals with the garden on here yet or not, but things that I've identified. Number one, I am doing like a weekly update, not only for myself, but for the people that are paying attention, right? That's intentional. I said to my sister yesterday, I know that July 19th, I think it was last year, which is in like 2 weeks. As of July 19th of last year, I officially stopped being able to, I stopped doing everything except caring for my mom and medically trying to figure out what was going on with her. So up until then, my social media was hair, and it was custom AF designs, and it was fun, exciting marketing, and it was things that brought me joy, and that I was really proud to have worked on, and all of these cool things. And I, in my memories, like I see that like every day, you know, it'll come back last year, the year before, right? And so those memories are starting to pop up. That is nice. I miss being able to market with hair and do hair, and I wish I could feel my fingers. But I know that I'm coming up on where that's going to stop. The memories and things like that are going to stop, and it's going to shift into everything my mom and then Jamie Jam's Christmas. And so I feel the train coming of knowing that I am going to be reminded of those things. I also know how my brain and body works, and with CPTSD and memory loss, I know that my brain, in a self-protective way, remembers a lot of the shit, but it didn't hit record on some stuff, but it can be very easily triggered into opening a floodgate of, okay, this happened, but then I have to remember all the things that got to there, and I am terrified of that. I think of the phrase, like, you can do hard things, and it's like, yes, that is a true statement, and yes, I did hard things. But the thing is that sometimes when brains are doing hard things, disassociation happens, and you try to not have to remember, or like you try to not hear the sounds of a heart monitor in AFib because it's very triggering and oversensory, right? When you're doing hard things and talking to doctors and yelling at 9ologists to find out why the hell you keep sending her home. She can't fucking walk, like that kind of stuff. So what happens is that I'll see a picture or some sort of memory about my mom, like the things that I did post, us coming home, a happy memory, or the day that I was able to finally do her hair after months because she couldn't be mobile, right? Like those memories come up, and those are the things that I want to remember, but I am attacked internally by what made that situation hard. Like, I don't want to have to remember those things, and I can disassociate and be like, oh, that was past Anna's problem, and then it opens the floodgates. And so being very conscious of the fact that I know a train is coming and we're not in a great spot, we're not necessarily prepared, but we're getting prepared. We are making sure that every fucking emotion we have is used intentionally, and that's where all the wiggles and growth of the garden has come from, of like, what do I do with myself? I just want to lay down. It's like, well, you can't do that. Make your mom proud. Listen, she'd be fucking proud of this garden. She would fucking love this. And I know that this is coming because I'm very self-aware. I know that every time that I eat eggs, even if Grayson doesn't acknowledge or engage about it, right? I know that every single time I eat eggs, I can't not think of the ambulance ride and my son's airway shutting down. I can't, I don't know, I can't, having to disassociate in that moment of the hard, I did the hard things, but still 10 years later, I can't not have an emotional reaction to eating an egg bake that my husband ate yesterday. And I have to just acknowledge that my body's going to be flooded with those emotions of remembering in order to eat eggs. If eggs are hard, what the fuck is going to happen when I see pictures of my mom and all the stuff that I only put the positive stuff permanently on the internet. Like all the hard things that we did, that was just that floodgate. That floodgate comes and takes me out, and I know it's coming, so I am preparing, right? I'm getting ready for the battle that my nervous system is under. And because if I don't prepare for it, then I will never get out of burnout, and grief will always be the lens that I have, and that there's no growth there. So the garden started. My mother was an HGTV kind of person, and I don't understand how a hamster breeder can afford a $10 million house. Like, HGTV does not make sense to me. That's a farcical world that I don't know if I live in. So she would watch, it was either fucking Lifetime or HGTV, and it's like, how do you feel about YouTube and gardening videos? Like, yes, the home makeover, but like, can we watch real people that feel real? So when she had gotten sick, gardening videos on YouTube had given me some peace, which is nice. But also that started because we both had food problems, and it was like, okay, well, maybe I'll have a garden, and then like we grow food because I'm not able to eat produce that has been shipped. It doesn't sit well, and that's a real thing. If you have any questions about that, let me know. So to normalize and encourage, like, okay, maybe I'll be a gardener. I don't know. We started watching videos, and we found a couple of people that I continued to watch even after she passed, and they very much inspired me to give it a whack at a garden, because we had to address this backyard as it was. We were going to sell the house, and if we did, the cleanup that it would have cost to take the trees down and do all that, it's like, for $8,000, guess what I can do for way less than that? I am severely under that budget. And joke's on them, I enjoy taking down trees. Bet. The yard had to be addressed in a budget. What are you going to do? I'm going to do whatever I can and not spend money. That is the funnest game in the world to me, because I can do a lot. A very proud example is obviously the shed, but the shed was there, and I had to buy plants and things like that. This space, though, yesterday I talked about doing a container garden. I'm obsessed with that. Good morning. Happy 4th of July. I don't even have my coffee yet because I can't believe it's still raining. I don't know what to do with myself. Ain't no hood like motherhood. All right. It's supposed to rain for another hour, which is great. I don't have to water my beds, and I'll know that they got like a good soaking. But what do I do with myself now? This is the worst part. If it keeps raining like this, I'm going to keep making... in the last hour, I have figured out how to construct the greenhouse that I want to put over this section, and how to rip down the deck in the back. Like, I am just overthinking things without being able to wiggle, and that doesn't usually work out well because I can't come up with projects. Okay, back to the baby ducks. So it was like, make sure they don't fall into drains, because when the mom duck does take them on their walkabout, they're going to go towards the nearest water, and that would be like by the sawmill downtown Antioch. And it's like, oh, that's really far, right? It's like, and make it, even the water treatment plant, but I don't know if they go there. Anyway, my brother-in-law was like, yeah, you got to make sure they don't fall in like a storm drain or something. Like they say that you can kind of direct them by like following them and just keep them in line very gently, right? It's like, respect your manners. And now I'm going to do everything I can to be a part of this experience, short of setting up a GoPro. And if somebody has an extra GoPro and wants to set it up over the nest so we can watch them hatch, I would love that. Or else I don't know. I'm excited. Anyway, what things that I can do is I can open the window that is directly kind of above the nest, because once they all hatch, you'll hear them chirp, right? And so, and they're not all going to hatch at one time. So maybe if one like hatches and then like there's a slow buildup of chirping, we won't miss it and can observe from afar. But like, I hope that these ducks, all 12 of them, they all hatch and they get with their mother to wherever they're going to end up being. And I don't have to be a part of that experience. But in this whole, like, I just am living my best Disney life, right? If I, like Kevin Costner, if you build it, they will come. Like, I'm going to build flower beds and vegetable beds, hoping that the vegetables and flowers and sunflowers come before the wildlife eats the vegetation. But also, if I have no vegetation because of the local wildlife has hunkered down and is like, this place is cool, then I'm living my best Disney princess life, right? So, like, the question is posed then with the Kevin Costner lens of like, what can I build so the duckies would stay? I don't know. Maybe that's not what you should do, but my brother-in-law was like, well, you got to be careful, Anna, the pit, the drain, right? Like their French bulldog fell in the pit when it was full of snow. Like she just went right in. So it's like, oh, he's like, you got to watch out for the drain. What if they all fall into the drain in front of the garage? And he had this like, oh no lens. And I had the like lens of like, oh yeah, that wouldn't be great. What if they all fall into the drain and then there's some water, or just the direction that they go is down to this very large pipe that a football or like a basketball could fit down? Like there's not going to get stuck. Oh no, like what if they fall in the drain and there's water in it, and then all of a sudden it's like a little duck slide? That's bad. Oh gosh, where are they going to end up? An incinerator? No, into a duck pond? A pond full of like wild, like I got to get the plastic out of there. But like, oh no, what if they fall in the drain? Why is that a bad thing? Every single day I sit out here and I put on the lens of like, what can we build to create an experience that we would like? How do I not put that lens on when it's like 12 duck eggs? I don't want to buy an incubator. Let the mom do the job. But like those ducks can't fly away. They're going to have to walk somewhere. The question at bay is like, what would happen? What happens if there's like, not an enclosure, but like just a suggestion of a way to go that may or may not lead to a fun duck slide that I may or may not, or someone could have been leaving the hose run for however long. I'm still doing the math on how long those eggs have been hatched. It takes 28 days after she lays them, and like they don't start nesting on them until she's done laying all of them. God help her if she's still laying eggs. There's literally 12 in there. So I haven't gone back to look, but if I had to like rough estimate, shoot from the hip, be the majority confident, 51%. It's been, I think, 2 weeks that those ducks have been around, right? And I think that by that video that we took of them walking around in our hubbubbing, I think that she had already started to lay the eggs. I don't think that they would have continued to build a nest with all the commotion we've had in the last 2 weeks. So that means that those... I just opened the window and the screen fell out. And that's where she had the eggs. I'm going to try to get her. There she is. Hi. Hey, Mama. Good morning, Mama. I left her some corn and snacks. We'll just leave the window open, so if you let us know if you need us, okay? You're so cute. I did not realize how directly underneath that window that nest was, where when I opened it up a little bit and kind of peeked, she just kind of looked up at me and I was like, oh. And then I went to go fix the screen while I was recording, and she had kind of gotten up to mosey, and I'm like, hi. Grapes and corn, just a few, put them out there. Grayson doesn't, like, I didn't have a normal experience about feeding Grayson. So it's like, I just cut up grapes, like I cut them into quarters for the first time in my life. And I have a 10-year-old to feed a duck. I am really, really, really grateful that I had that interaction with the duck and had those big dopamine feels, because the bereavement counselor from hospice just called me. It's hard to disassociate from that. She was wonderful. And what stuck out in my mind is she said, she goes, our country does not grieve the right, like, we don't teach people how to grieve. And I was like, facts, preach. It's hard not to get stuck in that ball of like, and it was nice to talk to. She's a bereavement counselor. Like, they had told us right after Jamie Jam's Christmas and after my mom passed, like, we're here for you guys. It's like, okay, yeah. But it's like, you don't know how to call somebody and say, I don't know how to grieve. Can you help me? Like, that's hard. And it's hard to pretend like you're being tough all the time, right? Like, no, I got it, right? It's really hard to say when you don't got it, And it's been 6 months and 1 week, and I guarantee you that they called today, because they don't call on the 6-month anniversary. They wait a week to see how you are, which I appreciate, because I needed it today and didn't know. And they called to let us know that if we needed anything, we still have 7 months of bereavement available to us free of charge, because hospice was scary, but they're wonderful. Like, they know how to help you. They know how to help you do this awful shit. And it was nice. Like, she's like, how have you been since you lost your mom? And she doesn't want me to be like, I'm fine. She's like, how are you? It's like, listen, it's rough. Like, the medical crisis kind of thing, like, that didn't really let up. Like, trying to catch up on all the things that my mother did for everybody. Like, trying to wrap, my sister and I, like, trying to wrap our heads around that. Like, that's a lot. She was a whole ass wonderful person. We are exhausted. And so, like, we're not running away from our grief. Like, we are trying to get it, but the emotional blindsides are really tough. Like, I told her about how, like, she knows about Jamie Jam's Christmas and the donation of the lights and all those things. And, she's like, how are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm trying to hold it together. It is interesting, and I'm struggling with those, grief emotions. Those fucking hit you. And she's like, I know. I was like, thanks for knowing. Sorry, but like, I wouldn't electively talk about this if this wasn't that you asked. I said, so just trying to get our feet underneath us. And she said, your dad moved in with you guys, right? And I said, yeah. I said, yes, he moved in with us, and we're, trying to figure out what life looks like without my mom, because she did everything, And she's like, I know. I hate that she called to talk about that, because you're supposed to. But also, like, I was thinking about a duck. I said, he did. I said, we're just trying to be humans, right? And, like, fundamentally every day I'm just trying to figure out why to get up, And it's like, well, I want to make my mom proud. And she's like, yeah, she would be. And I was like, well, I have to be careful with those emotional blindsides, because I get hit really big, right? I'm struggling with my own, like, health and, like, vasovagal, and it's better, but, like, so after Jamie Jan's Christmas and my dad moved in with us, like, my storage unit was empty a year ago, and then now it's full of, like, all of her stuff and, like, her trinkets and both of our Christmas stuff, and, like, the lights that that they put on the house for Jamie Jam's Christmas. Like, they just took them down a couple weeks ago, and he was like, what do you want me to do with this? And I said to Shane, I'm like, you can't put it in the storage unit. Like, I can't go there. And then also, when it comes time to open that in November, maybe if I can, I can't. That's a fucking time bomb. That'll kill me. And then she laughed, and I said, we're finally touching the backyard, and I'm building a garden that my mom would really like. Like, not only would she like to hang out with it, I said to my dad yesterday, I was like, I think mom would be really proud of me. And we both cried, and he's like, you think she doesn't have a hand in this? And I was like, I know. And then Grayson came downstairs and was like, Grandpa's right. Grandma would be very proud of you. And it's like, then everybody cried. And then she left again. And I said, so I'm building this garden, and, like, I'm not going back to my old devices of how I've handled grief in the past, which was not well. And so instead, I don't sit down ever. And I'm just kind of hope to burn myself out every day a little bit so that I can sleep through the panic attacks. But, like, I'm working on my own growth as a person. Like, I said, this is what I said to her. I was like, I'm working on my own growth as a person, right? Like, instead of going to those devices, like, I'm just building a garden that she would love to sit in, but then be proud of me, and right? And I intentionally told the guy that had volunteered to put up the lights, he took them down a couple weeks ago, and I said, put them in boxes and bring them to my house. And so they're in that, like, I haven't been to the front of the house in a couple of weeks, because that's where the Christmas lights are. And I can't hang up the Christmas lights until I have the cattle panels up. And so, like, I am slowly working towards that goal and learning grace and patience. But, like, I'm building a garden for my mom, because grief is hard. Like, that was the fucking thing, words that came out of my mouth. And she asked. And then she told me that my mom would be proud of me. And then asked when she could come see it, because she has the lens of, I'm building a fucking garden for my mom because I miss her so much, right? Like, that was a hard phone call. But also, she's fucking right. And the reason that I am crying through this and putting it on the internet while I actively think about it is because there's a lot of you out there that have lost parents in the last couple of years or family members, and like, fuck. I'm grateful that there's people out there trained to talk you through some of those hard ones, because I how would I say this? I could say that I had the benefit of knowing how things were going to end, so that we had the ability to throw her the last best Christmas, right? And I had the benefit of like knowing that I was live grieving. Things that are quick: accident, suicide, quick deaths, like those hit you and you live with the what ifs. Like when you live grieve, you get to do those some, and you get to have some pretty great experiences, right? Like when I'm experiencing those feelings of loss, like it'll send me through the existentials if I don't talk it out, because I don't know how to handle it on the inside anymore. I know that my heart is turning from being angry that I lost her, because I just talked to a bereavement counselor about this. And if you don't have a bereavement counselor and you're going through this, then fucking find one, because it's beneficial. Having that conversation with her helps me be able to vocalize, so I can remember how to get through this. Like, that is memento moments. Like, memento moments and grief, man. Ooh, CPTSD or PTSD and grief together. That is a recipe for disaster for me in the past. And so, and actively knowing that makes it so that I had to change all my tools on how to not to go back to being a self-destructive person. So I said to her, going through this grief, like I'm trying to rationalize that. You can't rationalize grief, and she's like, I know. And I said, I can get through most days, but then there's always that, like, why did we have to do that? Why did we have to lose her? And then I'm mad again, And I know that mad is there, and it stops me and puts me into complete freeze meltdown where I go nonverbal, which is very uncomfortable for everybody around me. I said, but like knowing that yesterday when I would have that, like, God, I wish my mom would be here to see it, I would go to a meet anger and just frozen. And then the world like whooshes around me, because what the fuck? But instead of like just having that one overwhelming emotion like that is starting to figure out where to go, right? Like, where do you put it? It's like, well, I'm building shit. And then when I stand back and look at it, it's like, oh God, I want to call my mom, Being able to vocalize to my dad yesterday, like, I think Mom would be really proud, and like for that to be true, and for him to validate that, and then for Grayson to back it up, like that's shifting where like it's loss and mad, but like it's also like, oh Mom, Jamie Jams. I was not expecting to go through a extreme oh God, it's nice when I can't think of the word. My brain's slowing down, and I'm grateful for it. That phone call, right? Like, I was in foster duck mode, right? That phone call, it was a name I knew I had on my phone, and I don't say it. Like, if I passed Anna, I think I might have done that intentionally. I know myself. I guarantee you I saved the name but not the title, so that if I saved a name, I know I will answer the phone. But if I knew it was the bereavement counselor calling me, I would have put it off. But I purposely left myself with that. This could be about Grayson's medical or school, and I will answer the phone. If I would have put bereavement counselor on there, I wouldn't answer the phone. I would have told myself I was fine. Know thyself. Shit. Past Anna, first of all, I guarantee you, I was like, they'll call me later, and future Anna can cry it out. I mean, I can't even be mad. It's logical, but damn it, I punked myself. Oh my God. Yeah, I just had to psychoanalyze myself a lot to know that that is true. And I probably could prove it, but I'm just too tired to do it. Okay, what was I talking about? If I die of a heart attack today, it's because of a duck. I'm not kidding. I am trying to get things done and not disturb the duck who is still sitting right in the front yard. Where is she? Right there. Like, she's on guard. Like, she's keeping it out for me, and I'm just trying to act normal. I put on sunglasses so she wouldn't know I was weird. This is happening. The golf cart. She is sitting. I can't take the golf cart because it would disrupt her. And I'm trying to be polite, and she's sitting in front of the other one. Both of the golf carts are tied up, so I'm physically moving all this shit. I'm going to have a heart attack. Worth it. Put it on my headstone. I am moving everything to make sure that she is comfortable as hell. But I think she is establishing dominance, and I ain't trying to cage her in. Baby, take care of your babies. Do what you got to do. I'll be in the backyard. Everybody knows to come around back from the other side. 2 weeks ago, we had squirrel interruptions, and this week we have duck interruptions. So, how do you have people over when you're like, careful of my duck that doesn't pay rent? I know, that's not my duck. That's not my duck. But I will happily help those ducks' babies if they need me. Don't go by the eggs, Anna. Thank God Sarah's coming over. Shane came home on lunch, and I was like, dude, okay, like, I have a lot of information. Like, you just walked into my, like, imagine I just walked into your work zone. Like, I am mid shuffle wheel. Like, how are you? I gave him enough information about what's going on and the decisions that I was kind of stuck on after the drawbridge. And I think a plan is coming together where my executive functioning starting to kick in right as Sarah arrives. And then we can catch up, and then I can physically have her for like an hour to help move stuff. If it works out that way, awesome. If she's like, hey, I'm here, I got to drop this off, I got to go, we will pivot. But I got to point it out to myself. When like I get up in the morning and it's like, okay, what do I do? It's like, okay, hang the Jamie Jams lights. It's like, okay, I don't know how to build stuff. What do I want to build? It's like, well, you're an adult. You can build whatever you want. Well, I got no money. It's like, okay, well, you got one limit. It's okay, well, I want to live in a fairy tale cottage. I have a Disneyland Builders. It doesn't necessarily need to be functional. Aesthetically, it's cute and it checks a lot of boxes. Like, I don't know how to not build with creativity and whimsy in mind of Disney as it is. So you throw in the fact that there's just animals running around. I don't know how to not save that duck. Why? That's not my duck. But I hope that some of his babies are like, hey, what's up, Quack? Mom, you're my mom now. Like, how do I get one of those unique human duck? Oh, this one was left behind. Not because I wanted or wish that. I don't want to do that. I want them all to be safe and survive, and I just will hope to see the process. But like, these ducks chose to be a character in my movie, and it has a Disney lens of building for fun and whimsy, so animals will show up. How do you like your grapes and corn back there, babe? I ain't coming up there. Respect boundaries. But also, bitch, you trapped my golf carts. Don't make me want to scare you away. I'll buy an incubator. Bet. I found the pool. Sweet. Oh my God, I'm going to go. I found the pool. Will she keep a duck? Won't she keep a duck? Oh, it's so exciting to find out. Where's my glove? Oh my God. I know where my hands were. I can't feel them today because I spent 8 hours sawzawing, and that's why I can feel it. Here's our fence posts. There's a couple of them. Got to clean up the edges. Got to split them up. Burp, 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 burp. And then boom, make a bed. One bed. That's layman people stuff. I'm making 4. Yeah, 4 more. If I had to say, probably 6 foot by 2 or 3 deep. Raised up. 2 feet tall. I can't. This is going to be great. So that